Hello everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin. We're thrilled to have you here with us today. In this episode, we're diving into a topic that has captured the hearts and curiosity of fans everywhere. From one and only to forever and ever, we'll be taking a closer look at Ren Jialun Bai and the fascinating connection that extends beyond the screen into real life. Is their chemistry purely acting? Or is there something more behind the scenes? Stay with us and let's uncover the story together, starting right now. The moment one and only aired its final episode, something strange lingered in the air. It wasn't just the heartbreak of the story or the unfinished ache that followed viewers to sleep each night. It was the feeling that the emotions on screen had not fully ended when the cameras stopped rolling. Ren Jialun Bai didn't simply portray love shaped by fate and sacrifice, they seemed to carry it with them. Long after the director called cut, fans noticed it first in subtle ways. A glance held half a second longer than necessary during promotions. A smile that appeared before the question was even asked. Silence where laughter should have been. As if words would only ruin something fragile. Before Forever and Ever was even announced, speculation had already begun. Industry insiders whispered that their reunion was inevitable. That no other pairing could recreate the tension they had ignited. Behind the polished announcements and scripted interviews, there was pressure. Enormous pressure. To repeat chemistry is one thing, to deepen it is another. Ren Jialun was known for restraint, for carefully drawn boundaries between work and private life. Bai, on the other hand, carried emotions openly, almost dangerously so. On set, crew members sensed it immediately. The atmosphere shifted whenever they stood too close. Conversations would stop. The room felt smaller. During the early days of filming Forever and Ever, their interactions were cautious, almost distant. As if both were afraid of crossing a line they themselves could no longer clearly see. But tension does not disappear when ignored. It builds. Scene by scene. That restraint cracked. Their performances grew heavier. More intimate, more raw. There were moments when the director hesitated to call cut. Sure whether what he was witnessing was still acting or something else entirely. The line blurred not just for the audience, but for everyone present. Off camera, they were rarely seen together, yet somehow always aware of each other's presence. A chair kept empty. A phone checked too often. When rumors began to surface online, both agencies responded quickly, firmly denying any personal involvement. Yet denial did little to stop the storm. Anything, it fueled it. Fans dissected interviews frame by frame, analyzed tone shifts, pauses, breathing patterns. Every detail became evidence. Silence became suspicious. Then came the turning point. A behind-the-scenes clip, released without much thought, showed Ren Jialun instinctively reaching for Bailu's hand after an emotionally intense take. It was brief, almost invisible, but it was real. Real to ignore. The internet exploded. Within hours. Spread across platforms. Igniting debates, fan wars. Sleepless nights. Some called it professional care. Others called it instinct. But no one called it fake. After that moment, everything changed. Public appearances became rarer, more controlled. When they did appear together, the tension was no longer hidden, it was contained. Compressed into glances and unfinished sentences. Interviews felt heavier, questions sharper. Ren Jialun grew quieter. Answers shorter. His eyes revealing more than his words. Bailu smiled. But it was different now. Not bright, not playful. The smile of someone holding on to something precious and dangerous at the same time. Behind closed doors, the pressure intensified. Every move was monitored. Every interaction weighed. Yet the closer they tried to step back, the more undeniable the pull became. Colleagues spoke of an unspoken understanding between them. A rhythm that no script could dictate. Didn't need to rehearse emotional scenes. They arrived already there. It was as if the story of Forever and Ever was not just a sequel on paper, but an echo of something unfolding in real time. Filming wrapped. Many expected the connection to fade. It didn't. Instead, the absence of shared schedules only deepened the mystery. Occasional coincidences appeared, matching travel timelines. Similar background details in photos. Hinted at during live streams that mirrored each other too closely to be accidental. Nothing was confirmed. Nothing was denied. And that uncertainty became the most powerful narrative of all. Fans were divided between hope and fear. that what they witnessed was genuine. Fear that if it was, the cost would be unbearable. Industry is not kind to stories that escape control. Love, especially unscripted love, is seen as a liability. And yet, despite everything, the story refused to disappear. It lingered in every rewatch, every unsent message, every unanswered question. From one and only to forever and ever. What Ren Jialun Bai created was more than a pair of successful dramas. It was a shared emotional universe. One that blurred fiction and reality until neither could be clearly separated. Whether they choose silence or truth, distance or closeness, one thing remains undeniable. Something real happened. Something powerful enough to shake the audience, unsettle the industry, and leave a mark that time cannot easily erase. And perhaps that is the most shocking part of all, not the answers we don't have, but the feeling that some stories are never meant to be fully explained. Time did not quiet the story. Instead, it sharpened it. Weeks turned into months. The absence of clear answers only intensified the tension surrounding Ren Jialun Bai. The industry moved forward. New dramas premiered. New couples were promoted. Yet their names continued to resurface with unsettling persistence. It was as if the audience refused to let go. That what had been left unfinished on screen had also remained unresolved in real life. Behind the calm surface of official schedules, fractures began to appear. Ren Jialun's public demeanor grew more guarded than ever before. In interviews, he spoke carefully, choosing words that revealed nothing yet somehow suggested everything. When asked about chemistry, about destiny, the meaning of forever and ever, his pauses grew longer. Silence became his shield. But it was also a confession of sorts. Bai, meanwhile, seemed to stand at the opposite edge of that silence. Her eyes spoke more freely than her voice. During live broadcasts, she would catch herself mid-sentence, smile faintly, and change the subject, as though aware she had wandered too close to something she was not allowed to name. Those who worked closely with them noticed the change. Ease that once surrounded their conversations was replaced by careful distance. Not coldness, but control. Control born not from indifference, but from restraint. And restraint, when pushed too far, becomes tension of the most dangerous kind. There were moments when paths nearly crossed, awards ceremonies, shared sponsors, overlapping travel plans, only to be rerouted at the last minute. Coincidence? Officially. Avoidance. According to those who knew better. Then came the night that reignited everything. A single photograph, blurry and taken from afar, appeared briefly online before vanishing. Two familiar silhouettes. A shared space. No faces, no confirmation. Just enough to reopen every wound the audience thought had healed. Screens lit up once more. Discussions exploded. Old clips resurfaced. Lines from dramas were quoted like prophecies. And only was no longer just a title, it felt like a promise that reality stubbornly refused to deny or fulfill. What made the situation unbearable was not certainty, but ambiguity. If they had confirmed, the storm would have peaked and passed. If they had fully denied, time might have dulled the fascination. Suspended between truth and silence, the story became immortal. Fans were no longer just observers, they were witnesses. Emotionally invested in something that felt painfully human beneath its celebrity surface. In the end, perhaps the greatest shock was not whether Ren Jialun Bai were partners in real life. How deeply their shared story reflected a universal fear. The fear of loving something that exists in the wrong place, at the wrong time, under the wrong spotlight. Their journey exposed the cost of authenticity in an industry built on control, and the quiet violence of choosing restraint over honesty. The paths eventually converge or drift permanently apart may never be fully revealed. But the impact has already been sealed. One and only to forever and ever. Their connection carved a mark deeper than any scripted ending. It reminded the world that some stories do not need confirmation to be real. They live in tension, in glances, in silence, and in the haunting feeling that something true once stood on the edge of becoming everything, and chose to remain undefined. In the end, this story was never truly about clear answers or public confirmation. It was about the fragile space between fiction and reality, where emotion slipped through the cracks and refused to be neatly contained. From one and only to forever and ever, Ren Jialun Bai left behind more than unforgettable performances. They left a lingering question, one that continues to echo long after the screen fades to black. Some stories are powerful precisely because they remain unfinished, living on intention, memory, and quiet imagination. Thank you sincerely for staying with us until the very end of this journey. Your time, curiosity, and attention give life to stories like this, allowing them to continue beyond the screen and the page. We truly appreciate your support. We look forward to sharing more compelling stories with you again very soon.